So just listen to this, because I've egged it so much that you might fear I've over-egged it, but I don't think I have. I think this is quite brilliant, and it was written in response to our clip, actually, about the weird dislike of Prince Harry and his wife and where it comes from. And a lot of people are unhappy with the observation that her ethnicity is one of the most obvious reasons to distinguish between her and other female members of the royal family. But so the Twitter account is called Royal Suitor, and as with so much online, I don't know what's real and what's not. But the byline on this is RS Lock. Pay attention. This is really important. It's only a 3-minute read, and I'll share it with you now, because I felt pennies dropping as never before when I read this. So we'll start at the top again. I might do my Jackanory voice for this. All right, I won't. Imagine a society founded on a class structure with the brackets white, close brackets, and the brackets are important, British royal family at the top as determined by birth and by blood, right? Don't have to imagine it, that's what we've got. It's not a matter of opinion, that's a matter of historical fact. A biracial woman enters the top of the pyramid by marriage, negating both the birth and blood requirements society had previously been told were preconditions. Because she lacks those prerequisites, she's considered unworthy. Because she's proud of her own heritage and regards herself as equal to others at the top of the pyramid, she's considered ungrateful. The town criers called out from the lower tiers of the pyramid, "I've never met her, but I look at her and I don't think I'd like you in real life," said one. "We Brits prefer true royalty to fashion royalty," proclaimed another. These are direct quotes from prominent columnists and commentators. Shouts of "she just doesn't speak our language" came whistling on the wind. But at the top of the pyramid, the cries were met with silence. So she's under attack in some fairly horrible ways, and they expected perhaps to get some support and protection from the boss, or even the brother. Were they too far away from it? Were they too disconcerted to know what to reply? Or did they use the cacophony from below to muffle the echo of their own whispers as they murmured the same things? The loudest gossip monger was impossible to ignore as he oafishly admonished her to go back to America. There was a brooch, I think, worn by one of the royals at an early meeting with the Duchess of Sussex, which I should double check the facts before I describe it. But have a look yourself. After years of being told that she was unworthy and ungrateful, the newlywed took the crier's advice and returned from whence she came. Despite one tattler's audacious cautions not to force her husband to, and she quotes again, "choose between you and us," he did in fact choose his wife, just as he did the day he married her, much to their chagrin. Ironically, though society spurned her placement at the top of the pyramid, when she leaves with her husband, for some, it calls into question whether the pyramid's peak is still something to aspire to. God, this is good. Whether those at the top are truly elite. Whether blood and birth really are prerequisites. Their departure is considered a rejection of the pyramid as a construct, thus a rejection of the society itself. For others, it was a necessary repudiation and confirmed that just as they suspected, she was NOCD, which translates as not our class, dear. And remember, the Duchess of Cambridge took an awful lot of jip for A, not being an aristocrat, and B, having a mother who had once worked as an air hostess, but she towed the line and fitted in. Final paragraph. Still, that wasn't enough. For society to maintain order, she must be reclassified and her elite status conferred by marriage removed. But the society is trapped in a conundrum. Her husband and their children are at the top of the pyramid by birth and by blood. Now, I'd remind you, this was written before today's announcements about patronages and honorary military appointments being removed from the Duke and Duchess. Her husband and their children are at the top of the pyramid by birth and by blood. Removing titles, military honours, and patronages won't remove her from the top of the pyramid. The only thing that will reclassify her is to remove her from her husband. And the society has been working diligently, though unsuccessfully, to that end since the day they learned that Harry and Meghan were a couple. Do you know, I don't even know the real identity of the person that wrote that, but it seems to me to be the most insightful, informed and plausible explanation of matters royal that I have ever read in my life. And while you won't be surprised to learn that I don't have a spare room full of royal biographies or royal histories, I do read the papers every day, and I try, for obvious reasons, to read stuff that I don't like and papers that I don't agree with. And I have never read anything even half as good as that. Partly because it makes absolutely perfect sense. Partly because it retrospectively explains so many things that I have been baffled and confused by. Indeed, it was inspired, that little piece, by the phone-in we did on Monday, asking what on earth is it that she's supposed to have done wrong? And partly because it's so prescient. Remember, this was written on Monday. Today is Friday. I don't think that qualifies as a scoop either while we're here. But that was written on Monday. Today is Friday. It has literally just been announced that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are to lose their honorary military appointments and royal patronages. And this was written 5 days ago. Removing titles, military honours and patronages won't remove her from the top of the pyramid. The only thing that will reclassify her is to remove her from her husband. And the society has been working diligently, though unsuccessfully, to that end since the day they learned that Harry and Meghan were a couple. I think, and obviously my natural immodesty pains me slightly to say this, I think that's among the most powerful words you've ever heard on this programme. It's absolutely brilliant. And I'm not sure that you can argue with a single syllable of it.
So listen up, because what I'm about to break down is not just good, it's jaw-dropping. And before anyone says, oh, you're exaggerating, no, my friends, this is pure brilliance. Let's talk about one of the biggest elephants in the royal palace, the thing the tabloids dance around but never actually admit. Why so many people have this bizarre, almost obsessive dislike of Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex. Spoiler alert. It's not because Meghan ate the last scone at Buckingham Palace tea time. No, it's because she dared to walk into an institution built on centuries of class, hierarchy, and, yes, whiteness, and she didn't crawl in apologizing for who she is. Imagine a pyramid with the British royal family at the top, ruling not just with crowns and titles, but with a system that basically says you're only worthy if you've got the right blood and the right birth. Now, here comes Meghan, biracial, American, successful, confident. She didn't climb that pyramid, she married in. And instead of bowing down to the system, she stood tall, proud of her heritage, proud of her identity, and unapologetically equal. Cue the pearl clutching from Britain's so-called commentators. Suddenly Meghan wasn't just different. No, she was unworthy or ungrateful. And, my personal favourite tabloid insult, difficult. Difficult, please. If Meghan is difficult, then half of London traffic should be exiled to Siberia. And the chorus of critics? Oh, they didn't hold back. Columnists wrote things like, oh, she just doesn't speak our language, and translation, she doesn't fit into the outdated, dusty mould they want her to squeeze into. Others sneered, we Brits prefer true royalty to fashion royalty. Okay, let's pause right there. These are the same people who will buy Hello magazine just to drool over Kate's latest coat dress. Fashion royalty, please. Meghan walked into that family and brought style, brains, and compassion. Three things you rarely see together at a royal photo call. But here's the kicker, the silence from the so-called top of the pyramid. When Meghan was under attack, viciously, unfairly, did we see the firm, the so-called family, step in and defend her? Did Charles thunder from the throne? Did William show brotherly support? Nope. Crickets, or worse. They whispered the same nonsense behind closed doors. You don't need subtitles to catch that silence. And when Meghan finally said, "You know what? Enough is enough. I'm going back to America," the haters screamed, "See, she forced Harry to choose between her and us." Well, newsflash. Harry already chose on the day he married her. He chose love over an outdated institution. He chose his wife, his kids, and his peace of mind over a toxic system that would rather protect its image than its own family members. The irony, the same people who screamed she didn't belong at the top of the pyramid were devastated when she and Harry left, because suddenly the question popped up. Wait a second, maybe the top of this pyramid isn't so special after all. Maybe it's not about birth and bloodlines. Maybe, just maybe, it's about values. And oh, the panic that caused. You see, Meghan leaving with Harry wasn't just a couple saying bye-bye to a few fancy titles. It was them rejecting the entire system. And that rejection shook the establishment to its core. If the Sussexes, two people who were literally born and married into that pyramid, decide it's not worth it, what does that say about the system itself? Spoiler, it says a lot. So, what did the palace do? Well, instead of reflection, instead of admitting mistakes, they doubled down. They stripped titles, pulled patronages, and took away honorary military appointments. But here's the thing. They couldn't take away Meghan's position as Harry's wife. They couldn't erase her children, Archie and Lily, who are royals by birth and blood, whether the tabloids like it or not. The only way to erase Meghan from that pyramid would be to separate her from Harry, and you better believe they've been trying that since day one. Spoiler again, they've failed, and they'll keep failing, because love wins every single time. And let's be honest, the more they attack Meghan, the stronger she and Harry seem to get. While the royals play musical chairs with patronages, Harry and Meghan are out here building Archewell, speaking up for mental health, supporting veterans, and actually making a difference. Meanwhile, the critics, they're still crying into their cold tea about protocol. Here's the truth. Meghan didn't break the monarchy. She exposed it. And Harry didn't betray his family. He saved his own. And to everyone still clutching their pearls about Meghan's class, or lack of it, let me help you out. The real class isn't about which boarding school you went to, or how many castles you own. It's about empathy, courage, and refusing to let centuries of snobbery define your worth. By that standard, Meghan Sussex is pure royalty. So next time you hear someone whining about how ungrateful Harry and Meghan are, remember this. What they really mean is, how dare they not stay in a system designed to crush them? And honestly, good for them. And that's why Harry and Meghan continue to shine no matter how much shade gets thrown their way. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Sussexes Squad family right here. We're all about truth, love, and calling out the nonsense. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's keep this conversation going. Because the more they try to silence Harry and Meghan, the louder we'll get.